배신.
몰라요.
What is going on, guys? It is your boy Grave, and today we are going to be talking about Kamen Rider Revice Episode 8. This episode, like Episode 7, felt a little shorter than last time, but still, this one had a bit more, I guess, packed into it. So let's get right on with talking about this week's episode. So the episode starts off with the Iki's family on a bus driving to a resort to celebrate their mother's discharge from the hospital. At the resort, the mother, her name is Yukimi. I never mentioned that in the previous videos, but she comments on how incredible the resort looks, with Gen telling her that he splurged a bit on the trip, spending a bit of money since, this is their first trip in a long while. With the whole family telling her to enjoy herself, with Yukimi taking their advice to heart. They unexpectedly meet up with the Ushijima family. Now, they are regulars. You actually see them in episode 1, actually. And when they celebrate Daiji joining Phoenix. With Aguilera in disguise, and let me just tell you, she kind of looks good in that yukata. She comes in disguise and leads the Ushijima family to their rooms. Vice mentioning that she looks a little familiar, with Iki shrugging it off, telling him to keep it down. Julio comes out from behind, also in disguise, and takes Iki and his family's luggage. Gen worriedly asks if he's Sakura's boyfriend, because Sakura was surprised to see him. But she just comments like he's just a junior from my karate class. Julio walks away with the luggage, and Gen and Iki go into the desks to check in, while Yukimi comments that Julio is kind of cute, implying that she approves of Julio. Little did she know, he's a big villain. As Iki and Gen check in, one of the employees walks away and says the dead man's phrase, "Gracias, dead man's," to Oteka, who is also in disguise, with Daiji flicking his finger, meaning that Kagero is in control right now. As the men walk into their baths, Iki and Gen and his brother are surprised to see George and Karuka in the baths, and all 5 of them have a little soak together. When Gen tells Karuka they're on a family trip to celebrate Yukimi's discharge from the hospital, Karuka kind of taunts Daiji, or I guess Kagero at this point, asking him if he's enjoying himself, with Kagero replying, "Of course, what do you think, stupid?" George, swimming up to Gen, asks if they can share a drink together, wanting to talk to him, the man that raised Iki and Daiji. Iki interrupts George talking again, asking if has any new info on Evil. George playfully saying that he actually wonders who he is, while Karuka says that he will unmask the bastard. And both of them stare Daiji down. Again, it's Karuka in control, so they're on to Daiji, or rather Kagero. In an employee lounge, Aguilera expresses annoyance that Phoenix members are at the resort with Iki and his family, and Julio saying they might be on to a Daiji being evil. Again, they don't know he's Kagero. Aguilera says Kagero will make his move at the resort, and it should be exciting to see Iki's family just wiped away. And I'm gonna lie, she kind of licks her lips on at the end of that. God damn. Anyway, in the family's resort room, Gen and Yukimi kind of flirt in front of all the children, much to Sakura's annoyance. And Gen gets Yukimi and him to leave so the children can plan something for their celebration. But little did they know that underneath their desk, they were kind of tapped. And in a completely different room, the Ushijima family are listening in through that little tap bug that they placed. In George and Karuka's room, Karuka is putting on his Phoenix uniform, confirming that Daiji is indeed evil, again, not knowing it's Kagero. George turning back, telling him, "What are you doing in that? Take it off and put your kata back on. We're at a resort." When Karuka says, like, you need to be more on top of things, George then comments that Gen is actually the most important, and asks why he's making all these pointless videos, which kind of confuses Karuka. In, like, the resort's restaurant, I don't know what you call them, I've never been to these kind of resorts, Iki and his family are about to eat dinner when the Ushijima family comes in and greets them, and once the father turns around, his smile just, completely dies. And George and Karuka are, in the corner watching Daiji. Again, they're kind of onto him. At the bar, Aguilera spikes one of the drinks with poison and goes to the family's table and gives each one a drink, but giving Iki the poison cup. Vice again warns Iki, but this falls on deaf ears and Iki wants nothing to do with it. And as Iki's about to drink the cup, Daiji, or I guess Kagero, pushes Iki, causing them to spill their drinks. And this pisses off and annoys Aguilera. Daiji says that he's feeling a bit out of it and excuses himself to wash his face, with Karuka following him afterwards. In some sort of storage room, Julia asks if Aguilera spiked Iki's drink, with her admitting that she actually did. Otega asking if she forgot about the deal they made with Kagero. And back in the flashback, it's revealed that Kagero wants to kill Iki, and they should stay out of his way, or else he's gonna, punish them. Aguilera then comments that she kinda hates being bossed around, before Kagero grabs her by the neck, telling her off for interfering, saying that he wants to attack when they're at their most happiness. The Dead Man's group run off, and Karuka attacks Kagero from behind, and they have a little scuffle with Kagero fleeing with a stamp power. He uses a stamp, puts it on him, and it does the shockwave, and Karuka is left alone in the storage room, a little peeved off. Back in the employees' lounge, Aguilera asks how much Daiji really hates Iki, with Julio telling her to smile and Aguilera slapping him across the face. Now, that was kind of funny. With Olteca telling them they should just watch what happens tomorrow and just let nature run its course, basically. In Iki's room, him and his mother discuss Iki's writer job, telling her that it's just work, and Yukimi asks if Iki is happy. Iki says that his happiness doesn't matter, it can wait. He's just more focused on making everyone else happy. His mother tells Iki that if he wants everyone to be happy, he needs to be the happiest one in the room. He needs to focus on his own happiness first. And that kind of attitude reminds her of, again, the father, saying that they both worry about everyone else before themselves. And they have a moment with Daiji or Kagero awake through that whole conversation. Kagero enters a bathroom and calls out to Daiji, with Daiji begging him for control of his body back, but Kagero says, "No can do. You can't restrain me anymore," and tells Daiji, "You better enjoy what happens tomorrow." And as Daiji continues to plead to have control again, Kagero snaps his fingers and basically does away with Daiji. Now, while the family is sleeping, Vice comes out of Iki's body and slithers into George's room, telling George that he's kind of frustrated, that he's a bit on edge, but Iki won't take him seriously, he won't talk to him, which George simply responding that he should just help Iki if anything comes out, sending him back to Iki's room. Now, the next day, the family surprises Yukimi with a celebration with the Dead Man's group holding the banner, because, again, they're in disguise. And during the celebration, suddenly Kagero pulls Iki away and basically socks him in the face. Like, it was out of nowhere. Confusing the rest of the family. Like, Daiji, what's going on? Why'd you just punch Iki? With dead men's revealing themselves, and it scares the rest of the family. During everyone's horror, Kagero walks up to Iki, kicking him, and puts on his belt, which is called the two-side driver. I think that's how you say it, right? And transforms into Kamen Rider Evil. Now, I'm not gonna lie, the transformation sequence in this is kind of pretty nice. Like, you hear like the little chant "Eeny, meeny, miny, mo," and honestly, that kind of gave me some wizard vibes. But anyway, after he transforms, it shocks Iki and his family, while the Ushijima family, watching far from a window, like looks at him like, what the hell is going on? Kagero continues to beat Iki, and when the father again tries to stop him, Kagero pushes him into a pool when Kadoka arrives and transforms into demons, forcing Julio and Oteka to come fight him. Sakura pulls her father out of the pool and starts to attack Aguilera, but you never see Aguilera fight, so certainly I'm wondering how that would turn out, but the fight didn't last long. You just push Sakura out of the way. It's like, bye, I'll play with you again some other time. While Kagero is beating Iki, Vice is telling Iki to transform or else he'll see his family get hurt. And out of frustration, Iki transforms and attacks. And both them and Kagero run off into a river with the family visibly distraught. Vice is bringing up like, hey, I tried to warn you, you wouldn't listen. But Iki responds like he just didn't want any trouble while his family are having such a good time on the trip, which I get that, but you gotta listen to the guy. If he's telling you that something's not right, you should probably listen to him. As they fight, George shows up and throws Vice a hammer and tells him, go help Iki with it. Vice goes in to back Iki up and whacks Evil with the hammer, and then combining it with Iki's axe, it turns it into a sword. Iki then calls out to Daiji, but Kagero is telling him like, he's no longer in here. I'm the one in control, revealing himself to be Kagero, his inner demon. And this pisses off Iki and attacks Kagero, both trading some blows, and they both trade stamps during those blows, Iki getting the Kong stamp and Kagero getting the Jackal. They both transform with the stamps they just got from each other, Kagero transforming with the Jackal stamp, and Iki transforming into the Kong stamp. Now, the Kong stamp actually looks pretty decent. Like, obviously the reference to this one is Kamen Rider Forza, the space Kamen Rider. But I don't really like the gorilla, the Kong motif for it. It reminds me more of the X8 armor from Zio. They both trade blows again, with Iki and Vice using a finisher on Kagero, knocking him out of the Jackal form. We then cut back to Kadoka fighting the Deadmans, and he uses a stamp, the Bada stamp, to basically augment his legs to turn into grasshopper legs. Now this is actually Kamen Rider Demon's trait. Instead of using armors or forms based on other riders, his stamps, which is also based on riders, augment his physical form, with the Bada stamp augmenting his legs, turning grasshopper legs, which is actually in reference to Kamen Rider Ichigo, the first Kamen Rider. But Kadoka uses the finisher, defeats both the Deadmans, and Julio and Oteka basically retreat for the time being. Iki uses the Kong remix and finishes off Kagero, but they're both kind of knocked out of their forms, and Kagero leaves, taunting Iki, walking off. Iki returns to his family, still distraught, kind of breaking down that he didn't get Iki back, with his mom telling him, you gotta save Daiji. And that basically ends episode 8. Now this episode was a lot better than episode 7, like, while episode 7 felt more like a filler, this one had a lot of more plot points to it. Now it is confirmed to Phoenix and to Iki that Daiji, or rather Kagero, is now evil. Overall, this episode was pretty nice. Kind of can't wait to see the dynamic between Iki and Daiji now that Iki knows Daiji's basically being possessed. But anyway, that is going to do it for this episode of Kamen Rider Revice. I'm excited to see where this goes. Anyway, I'll see you guys next time for Kamen Rider Revice Episode 9. And until then, I'll see you all next time. Peace out.